Hello everyone, this is MisAnthro Pony. So I've been around for a few months or so making episode reviews, tributes to other analysts, and letting off steam over other analysts. Given that I've been producing the amount of content that I've been making as fast as I've been, it's hard to assume that I've made some mistakes, right? Wrong! No matter who you are or how well you start out, you're bound to make a number of mistakes. And with some time having passed by, I'm starting to notice the mistakes that I've made myself. I said before that talking about these mistakes is more important at the moment before I move on to other things, so let's get this underway. Without further delay, this is MisAnthro Pony's Countdown. My top 5 mistakes.
Son of a bitch! You done fucked it up! BioShock! You done fucked it up! Tomb Raider! You done fucked it up! Grand Theft Auto! You done fucked it up! Battlefield 4! You done fucked it up! No! You done fucked it up! Stop fucking it up! What the fuck? Fuck! What the fuck? You done fucked it up!
A lackluster review of Appaloosa's Most Wanted. Now, when I say that I think my review of the episode is one of my bigger mistakes, it's not because my opinion on the episode has changed. Personally, I still think it's a good episode with good CMC characterization, an interesting moral, a nice one-shot character, and passable humor at the least. Although after some time has gone by, I will admit that my outlook on the episode feels a little lacking. And at some points I think I allowed my appreciation for the episode to make me overlook a few things. Firstly, I think that the rodeo adding world building into the show is a pretty overblown claim. I guess it's nice to know that Appaloosa has those, but does it really build the structure of the show's universe? I suppose getting to see Appaloosa again meant that the writers would have to add something new to the town to make the return feel refreshing. And honestly, the rodeo was the only thing that was added to it. That doesn't really do a lot to build up the show or its lore. I mean, was knowing that they do rodeos really that important? Another thing I might have overlooked was the idea of the CMC going after Troubleshoes. I mean, I did say they had dim-witted moments in the episode, but I don't think I made it specific enough. I mean, seriously, don't they know that going out in the rain by themselves into a dark forest to hunt down a known convict has bad idea written all over it? Even the Rugrats knew better than that. Another moment that comes across as dim-witted was when they didn't simply tell anyone that they ran off by themselves instead of getting kidnapped. You could make the argument that they weren't given a chance at first, but we see later that they had a lot of chances to just tell Applejack that they ran off. I believe Silverquill had something to say about that.
What the hell, kids? What the actual hell?
Yeah, even by my standards, that's messed up.
Yet another thing this episode has against it is the whole thing with Troubleshoe's clumsiness being seen as a crime. I said in the review that what helped make the episode good was that it was all part of a misunderstanding and that there was no real villain. Well, if this was all a misunderstanding, why didn't Troubleshoes explain himself? He could have just as easily told everyone that it was an accident, and considering that this was happening since he was a kid, shouldn't that mean that he had more than enough opportunities to say it was an accident? Maybe then he wouldn't have been accused of property damage. But the biggest thing this episode has against it is how Troubleshoes got his cutie mark out of nowhere. See, cutie marks are supposed to occur when the pony has an epiphany on what their talent is. The only problem is that Troubleshoes wasn't doing anything clumsy when he got it. What makes this a particular problem is that it goes against one of the set rules of the show's universe. If the writers are willing to go against their own rules, then what's the point of making them?
Come on, rules were made to be broken.
Well, even if it does have flaws, I can still find myself enjoying this episode. On the other hand, yeah, I guess my review could have analyzed it better. Think of this as AMW review additional thoughts.
You done fucked it up! No! You done fucked it up! Stop fucking it up!
A one-note tribute to the mysterious Mr. Enter. When I first started my tribute series for reviewers in the fandom that I like, I figured that I'd start out with the mysterious Mr. Enter. And why not? After all, he's widely recognized in the fandom and has even been seen as one of the show's best reviewers. So as you can imagine, my tribute to him talked about how much I like him. But maybe I did that a little too much. To put it simply, I was really kissing up to him without going into more detail about what makes his work good. Basically, the only things about him I said was that he was optimistic, he believed in the show's improvements, and that he was smart. Now, was that really enough for me to go by? The biggest flaw of this tribute is that, as I said before, it feels extremely one-note. It tends to bring up the same points throughout the video, and there isn't enough variety of me talking about his reviewing style. I guess I talked more about what he was known for instead of his actual approach towards reviewing the show, or even any show for that matter. In a way, I guess I can understand why it was so one-note, in that I was just starting out at the time and I didn't have a whole lot of experience talking about other reviewers more well-known than myself. But as is, it's basically a very flawed tribute. In time, I'm actually going to make a follow-up video to my original tribute to MisAnthro now that some more time has passed and I've thought of more things to say about him. There really isn't all that much I can say about this tribute video except that it feels really one-note, but compared to my review of Appaloosa's Most Wanted, this one just feels like the bigger misstep for me. Not one of my better first impressions.
You done fucked it up! No! You done fucked it up! Stop fucking it up!
Extreme lack of context in my Biter videos. When I made my rant against Biter, I cited a number of flaws I had with his reviews, a couple of pinpoints for each episode that he reviewed. And with that said, I really should have done more than just cite these points. Instead of explaining why these points were problems with his reviews, I simply said X was wrong, or X doesn't make sense, or X is a mistake. The problem with this is that all I did was put up a bunch of paragraphs and said they were bad criticisms without backing them up. In the follow-up video, I tried to explain why I didn't back up my claims by making the excuse that even if I backed them up, they would have been rendered meaningless with Biter coming up with a backup defense towards my criticisms. And that was pretty stupid of me. I mean, what exactly is Biter supposed to do if Biter is told he made a mistake? Just take it and eat it? At the time, he was doing what any reviewer would do. He was rightfully backing up his own claims, as where I was just saying a bunch of stuff. It also doesn't help that my arguments against him are about 15 minutes worth of content against his 50 minutes worth of explaining himself better. So not only did I make mistakes while pointing out flaws in Biter's reviews, I also didn't put more time into pointing them out. I have to give Biter credit, he actually put more time and effort into defending himself than I did criticizing him. And if that wasn't enough, I also made a lot of bad assumptions on his personality, saying that he was an egotistical jerk. I guess at that point I was taking his reviews as an example of his personality, which is not really a good thing. A lot of people have stated that they tend to have problems with Biter's character, but after finally getting a chance to talk with him myself, all I gotta say is, what the hell are you talking about? It's impossible to be the nicest guy in the world, but from what I experienced, Biter is actually a very pleasant guy to talk to. Heck, considering all the things people have been stating about him up to this point, I'm actually very happy that our conversation was so calm and collective. Maybe I was assuming too much based on what others have said about him up to that point, and yes, that also counts as a mistake in my Biter videos. Well, that's just great. I offered to be nicer to the guy, and I still managed to screw it up. Ultimately, there was no reason for my videos against Biter to be taken seriously since I didn't put enough material or constructive processing into them. And on top of that, I was being a jerk to him for things that weren't even that big of a deal. The criticisms towards his work were rushed and not very insightful. Hell, they were barely even criticisms, it was just me saying a whole bunch of random points relating to his videos. I also showed a complete disrespect to Biter considering that he himself took more time out of his day to make a video about me than I did about him. If you want more on this, check out my Skype chat with him on FNGR's channel. You'll actually find that when you give him a chance, Biter is a pretty nice guy. A lot nicer than people give him credit for.
You done fucked it up! No! You done fucked it up! Stop fucking it up!
My harshness towards Mage. This was around the time when people were really starting to not like my rants, and it's really easy to understand why. There were a lot of things that I could say that were wrong with my rant against Mage, including me citing Jerry Pete despite that I didn't know much about him.
I wanted to tell you, Jerry Pete, is censoring is the correct term when you remove well-articulated comments from your comment section just because they don't agree with your own opinion.
complaining about her monotone voice despite that I have a monotone voice myself, and the ending bit where I spoke against her artwork.
It was an awful thing to say.
But the biggest issue with the mage rant is that it was simply really unnecessarily harsh. As I continued to point out things that I didn't like about her reviews and collabs, I was just putting out so much relentless yelling. It just got so out of hand throughout the video, and it didn't let up for a single moment. Of course people were offended by this, so I took time to approach Mage from a more calm angle. I simply talked about my disagreements with her and how I didn't dislike her anywhere nearly as my rants made it out to be. In fact, I don't dislike her at all. I've gotten a lot of chances to talk with her after my limbo with FNGR, and we've been getting along fine. But even then, there were some additional mistakes that I made. For one thing, I didn't bring into account anything she made in her comment when she stated her defense, and I responded to each point rather selfishly. Even if I did it in a more calm and respectful tone, I still made it seem like I didn't care for what she said. And of course, there's all the bad assumptions that I made about her, including mistaking her complaints towards Twilight becoming an alicorn, her claim that the show got worse on Josh's video when that wasn't the correct question to ask her, nitpicking her for not mentioning Maud Pie, and her negative side, while truthful on her opinions, was part of a plan for a future project that was ultimately cancelled. Bottom line, Mage did not in any way deserve any of the bad things that I said about her, and certainly doesn't deserve the backlash she's gotten for stating her opinions on the show's later seasons. It's not like she did anything wrong when explaining why, and she's still a loyal member of the fandom as an artist. I'm very happy that I got to know her better, and I'm certainly hoping that no one actually takes everything I said in that dumb video into account. I was way too harsh. In fact, I shouldn't have been harsh at all, and I made a lot of mistakes when assuming things about her. It just goes to show how big of a jerkass that I was being at the time.
You done fucked it up! No! You done fucked it up! Stop fucking it up!
I should warn you right now that in order to understand the full weight of this last bit, and the consequences that come with committing these actions, I'm going to show you some things. I know it may be too much, but I feel like in order to be as honest as possible, this is something that I need to do. You're going to see a number of unsettling things, and I'm not going to censor any of it. To do so would defeat the purpose of this video. So without further delay, it's time to end this. Once and for all. The number one biggest mistake that I have made since I started this channel is without a doubt the Golden Fox rant. All of it. Following the backlash I got for the Mage rant, I still insisted on continuing with my rants. That Golden Fox was going to be the next reviewer I'd criticize. Weeks before I made and released the video, I was told to not be harsh towards Golden Fox to avoid another mage-level backlash. And I still went through with it. I was told that he was at least trying to improve on his mistakes, and that he even admitted to them, and I still made that rant. I saw his ending speech to his Twilight's Kingdom review, and I did it anyway. I knew he had a loving girlfriend, and I even saw that he was staying true to his words on making up for his mistakes when I saw his review of the Cutie map. And still, I selfishly decided to rant on him. Despite all the nice things I heard and knew about Golden Fox, I allowed a lack of empathy to get the better of me, and I created my rant on Golden Fox. What followed was the most disgusting compilation of childish bashing I had ever done. Explosive reaction that played a role in scaring off one of the best writers of the show into leaving the writing staff to join up with Disney, opening his review of Testing 123 with a fucking rant! I have a feeling that those dislikes for Robin's analysis on the episode came solely from Goldie's need to complain about how the characters aren't doing the things that he wants them to do. He will most likely bitch about it throughout the entirety of the season. Want to make a season-long story arc that can't risk having more than 7 episodes dedicated to it? Better make more, or he'll consider it a problem in his review of Twilight Time. I mean, look at this bullshit for a moment. You mean to tell me that if you don't get the headcanon fulfillment you desire, that Scootaloo's inner struggle and flight to the finish will ultimately be rendered meaningless? You didn't get your precious Equestria games? Yeah, well, flip a fucking coin, pal. And you just had to openly admit that you were insulted by Josh Scorcher's attempt to defend the episode.
What was the goddamn point?
As for your apology for being too harsh on Season 4, yeah, sorry, Fido, but by the time I got through all of your other annoying reviews and comments, and finally got to your outlook on the Season 4 finale, I could no longer reflexively respond with anything but a slight movement on my shoulders.
And I don't want to talk about this episode ever again.
You fucked it up!
Everyone was talking about it the next day, and they were not happy about it. I pissed off so many people with this rant, it was incomprehensible. Even people who genuinely supported my rants up to that point told me I was going too far. I received comments and messages and comments, completely detesting me for what I did. Even Josh Scorcher and Any Pony, 2 reviewers of the analysis community that I showed gratitude towards, did not hide their disgust towards what I was doing. And on top of that, both of them described my actions as cyberbullying. I completely lost the acknowledgement of 2 members of the community that I looked up to, and it wasn't even over then, because I saw FNGR's response to my Golden Fox rant as well. I was given time to think to myself, and I was seriously reconsidering what I was doing. Not because of the backlash, but because I was worried that my actions were leaving a bad influence on this fandom. I tried to start a casual talk with Golden Fox on his DeviantArt, but it was too late. He had already seen my rant against him, and he told me he was making a journal response to it. Eventually, I got the chance to read it, and as I read the first several paragraphs, I became disgusted and ashamed with myself. Speaking against respected members of the fandom was one thing, but to learn that my rants were causing one of my subjects stress, both physical and emotional, I never intended for that to happen. It was at that moment that I completely realized that Josh and Any were right. I was being a cyberbully in every sense of the word. And even then, that wasn't the end of it. Because not long after my rant against Golden Fox was released, this happened.
Our close friend Keyframe MLP, creator of the video series The Brony Gallery, a fantastic artist, a fellow analyst, voice actress, and singer, and a dearly special woman, has for the past 8 years of her life been trapped in an abusive home, with a drunken mother who attacks her verbally, physically, and mentally, and an empathetic to verbally abusive father who does nothing to deter the situation and in fact aids it by siding with her mother 9 times out of 10.
In the time that I was criticizing the Analysis League, and was preparing to criticize Golden Fox, his girlfriend, Keyframe, was going through things I don't even want to reiterate. And as the weeks went by, the stories of what she was going through only got worse. Even Golden Fox stated his own worries about the situation, and it wasn't pretty. This is when I really started to regret my actions. Not only did I heartlessly bash Golden Fox, but I was making him go through stress during a time when he had something more important to worry about. I had no right to do that to him, and it is something that I never should have done, even if I had no way of knowing what was happening. I'm not gonna lie. A part of me hated myself. I got so caught up in my frustration over the divided state of a fandom for a cartoon show that I relentlessly called out others, especially those who didn't deserve it. It made me believe that I didn't deserve to be thought of as a brony. I still stand by the belief that I had become a worse brony than Chad Rocco ever was. I stirred up more divisive attitudes and drama in the fandom. I lost the respect of people I looked up to. And worst of all, I still felt obligated to finish my rant series. I didn't know what was going to happen. But I got a chance to finish my conversation with Golden Fox on his DeviantArt. I got to read the rest of his journal. Despite the fact that I was fully expecting him to get angry with me and hate me, he didn't. He never did. The conversation we shared was very casual, and we got to understand each other better, even if it was just by a little bit. At the end of his journal, he cited me as a recommended channel for reviews and tributes for the show. He even subscribed to my channel. I couldn't believe that this was happening. Golden Fox literally had no motivation to forgive me, and he still did those nice things for me. At that moment, I was quick to apologize to him, and my apology wasn't the end of it. I got a chance to exchange private notes with him on DeviantArt, and we had a strong heart-to-heart connection together. He was even nice enough to show me a link to a video to help cheer me up. A video where this guy was reciting some stuff while he kept on dying in a video game.
Gerrymandering politicians always get their way unless you veto their vote in a voting booth. You have the power as a citizen of the United States. Register to vote at your local DMV so that you can control the fate of your country, at least somewhat. I mean, there's the Electoral College and everything, but I don't know much about how politics work. God fucking damn it! I'm done! I'm fucking done! This is bullshit!
It truly was shocking. I assumed so much about Golden Fox, and all of my assumptions were wrong. I showed a complete lack of empathy towards him. I did everything that I could have possibly done wrong. I screwed up so badly, and yet he still forgave me. More than he had any right to. He did so many nice things for me. And he even gave me something that, even now, I'm not even sure if I deserve. He gave me a second chance. This is why my Golden Fox rant was my biggest mistake. It wasn't because of the backlash, but because it did something that none of my other mistakes did. Unlike my other ones, this was the mistake that helped me realize that everything I did was wrong. The rants, the excuses I came up with, even the idea of getting angry at people I didn't think were good reviewers, instead of simply disagreeing with their opinions. In that rare occasion that you're given that second chance that you don't think you deserve, you need to decide on the spot what you're going to do with it, because it will affect the reputation you withhold in your community. I know now what I want to do with that second chance. And aside from that, I truly understand now. Only now do I truly understand the meaning of the words that I selfishly overlooked when I first heard them.
Admittedly, a lot of us have been dysfunctional, and even worse, we were given a rather bad reputation of the fandom. This was not meant to happen. But that's what happens when things aren't thought out completely. We've had controversial moments, we faced hard times, but we are to understand each other, and we have. We may have made mistakes, but that's what makes us grow stronger. That's what makes anyone grow stronger. There's always a challenge to face and mistakes to admit to, and you're never going to get any better unless you learn to face them. This isn't about what we want. It's not about what we expect. It's about what we can address for the better. We may have been dysfunctional, but in the end, reviewers, analysts, and even you viewers and what you have provided, we stand together.
The road to redemption is never an easy one, and it's not a fast one. But it's one that we need to take. It's the only way we can learn from our mistakes. Whatever happens in the future, you can be sure to see me on that road. MisAnthro Pony, over and out.